Alright guys, and welcome to another episode of the Brummy Brothers.
In this episode, expect to find out why American cringe is a superpower, how to navigate a hangover, and what Harry got up to during his time in Nashville, Tennessee.
Let's get into it.
We're back.
Again.
Not even a batch cook this time, just a singular episode.
A single record.
So to fill you in, since you heard from us last, which I believe was the Fitness Myths episode that then transpired to not actually cover many fitness myths. Yeah. We filmed a social media episode, which we promised. I went to then edit it, and the audio was shit, so we canned that.
Unfortunately, that was the best episode we'd ever filmed.
That was good.
You'll never see it.
You've then been to Nice and Nashville for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the two ends.
And now we've linked back up, and here we are.
Exactly. Yeah, we've been MIA a little bit, but that last episode was supposed to cover us for the time I was away.
Yeah,
and it didn't.
No, which was annoying because it was a good episode, as we said. But from the off, it was always going to be the writing was on the wall, I think, because we weren't in this room. We were in another room because someone was already gobbing off in it.
I know. There's a room behind us that's a green room that we thought would be fine, but first of all, it was too green.
Very green.
And secondly, the audio was shit, so we didn't want to put you guys through that.
Obviously, fucking canned that, obviously, because we have very high.
Yeah, in particular standards.
Which is a weird juxtaposition, isn't it? Because we have very high standards for the podcast, but we're not a professional outfit, and we don't really spend any time or energy trying to make sure it's a professional outfit.
No, I mean,
so you're always going to set yourself up to fail there.
Well, I think what we do, we want to do well, rather than, because we film in a certain way.
Yeah,
we want that to at least do well. Will be good.
Well, also there's enough gash content out there, isn't there? So like, if you're going to put out like a long form podcast, at least make sure it's like fucking creates some sense.
Correct. There's definitely a lot of shit content. But,
exactly.
We're trying not to fall into that bracket. So anything that is shit, we just won't upload.
But anyway, I'm going to start the timer.
At the expense of our schedule.
We've gob off.
Yeah. Today, we are going to catch up a little bit, I think, as Ed said. Lots been going on this month. And we're also going to go through some segment stuff at the end. I think that's the plan, right?
Yeah, so we'll do a little recap of your travel. Obviously, I haven't been anywhere, just, to fill you all in, basically. Shep's been doing a lot of travelling. I've been working. So not much to come from my end, really. So we do.
They call that balance.
They call that balance, yeah. So we'll do a bit of a recap, see what Harry's been up to in his cowboy fancy. I'm surprised he's not wearing a Stetson.
Should have come back in one, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Have you got any cowboy boots yet?
No.
You thinking about that?
We were going to buy. In fact, we met someone at this event. That event that I met my friend from Austin at.
Yeah.
They ran this event. There was like kind of a couple of pop-ups there from local businessmen. There's a guy who made custom boots. Super cool dude. Made custom cowboy boots. The only place that could have been feasible is in fucking Nashville. He had a shop there where like you go in, you get everything made, measured or whatever. And then they build them in Texas and send them to you. Anyway, these boots are between £1,000 and £3,000.
Yeah, it's an expensive business, isn't it?
Especially for custom. He was showing us what he uses for some of these boots. One of these things he had was a rattlesnake shed.
Hide,
yeah.
Like skin.
And they put that on the shaft of the boot. It's insane.
The shaft of the boot.
Yeah,
because is he got like, is it, when you go like to fucking
literally,
DFS and they've
pretty
got like
much
the catalogue with all the materials and colours.
Yeah, like
he's got a book of just like obscure snake skin.
Literally, had it wrapped around a little pole. And he was like, smell that. It was fucking literally skinned yesterday. I thought, that's mental. But it was pretty incredible to see the level of detail that goes into those things. Obviously, in that part of the world, it's a massive tradition and everyone takes quite a lot of pride in that. Yeah. They'll get that for weddings and really special occasions. And, you pair the boot with whatever suit you're going to wear or whatever it is. It's quite a cool thing. You don't even consider those things exist. And obviously, it's this guy's entire business, entire life, entire passion project.
It's weird, isn't it? It's like this American equivalent of like a kilt, I guess, for Scottish people. Yeah. I guess it's not as obscure for us, is it, when kind of Scottish people get married in their kilt and they've got like their family tartan on the kilt. Yeah. It's kind of more normalised for us because we're obviously exposed
to an American, that would be insane.
It's the equivalent of, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's just the level of passion he was talking about with these boots. So he used to work for Lucchese. You know, the massive boot manufacturer. I don't know.
No,
It was featured in a song very recently, so
Right,
it's like
okay.
it's one of the top ones.
Yeah.
And he used to be a designer for them for like 10 years. Then he left, did his own thing. But it's kind of interesting. He was at that event with. There was a lot of like wealthy people in the room who were American, and he got about 4 orders in that evening, which is fucking insane.
This is booing for him, innit?
Yeah, decent.
So what was the highlight of the trip then?
Good question. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah, I have already asked you this off air, but I mean, to be fair, you didn't really give me a concrete answer. So.
No, I mean the waterfall trip was really cool. We did a excursion, self-led excursion to a place called Cummings Falls. Yeah, in unfortunately named in Tennessee. It's about 90 minutes outside Nashville.
Really sadly, that name will be lost on Americans.
True.
If that was in the UK, you'd
no
never
one
hear,
made a joke about it.
Exactly. You'd
Quite
never
annoying.
hear the end of that. And all the signs that directed you to Cummings Falls would be vandalised.
I know.
And that's what makes British culture elite.
Exactly. And that is lost on Americans.
Which is sad, isn't it?
And we rocked up there. It was like it's a little trail you walk down to, and you get to this waterfall, and you go in. You have to pay to enter. It's like a national park, and a bit annoying. Looked at us up and down. 2 stackers, obviously, competent guys.
Operators, you could say.
Could say. And made us try and make us watch a fucking safety video.
That's bollocks.
So it wasn't like an organised thing. I'll go in there, watch this, and then you can go. Watched like 2 seconds. Yeah, fuck that. And then walked in. Because
what was the particular element of health and safety they wanted to draw your attention to?
Well, I wouldn't know because I didn't watch
You didn't watch it.
So I assume
Having then been to Cummings Falls, what would you think they were trying to
probably
of highlight?
slipping on random rocks. It's quite treacherous to get there, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it's a walk down a massive like ravine basically, and then you traverse this. Shallow water until you get to the thing. So it's all rocks and slippery stuff and whatever, so that's probably what it was. Anyway, walk down. Because the kinds of clientele we were seeing coming out in and out, very large people.
But
Americans.
They're buoyant though, you've got to remember.
They are buoyant. So we're like, if they can do it, we don't need to fucking say the video. We're going to do it. Anyway,
if nothing else, they'll just act as a life raft for you.
Well, exactly. We were trying to pick them out.
So as long as
we use him when we get.
As long as one's nearby, you will be safe.
We did see someone getting casevaced actually. Some fucking bloke had gone down, and that was nearly Tom eventually, which is funny. But it's like a natural pool and you have the waterfall obviously, and then you can jump into this thing and whatever. And people are there tanning and stuff. It's a cool place to be. And waterfalls are awesome to see anyway. They're massive kind of feat of nature. But what was interesting, I was saying to Tom, like I say, a lot of people there were rotund.
Yeah, well, you're in America.
And it was like quite exerting for me and Tom to get there. Like it wasn't, obviously we were there in good time because we were in a rush as we always are. But
because you were late,
probably. But just because we were bored of walking. And but we're thinking like if it's this much effort for us to get there, how long must it have taken for some of these?
Yeah, you're talking weeks expedition,
Weeks,
really.
yeah.
They set out for base camp months ago.
They left at the start of August. Yeah, but it was quite an interesting thing. I was thinking about how much harder it must be for them to experience that than it was for us, because it was still like a 3 out of 10 for us.
Yeah, so
that was good.
Easy, like a 10 out of 10 for them. All right, okay. Well, so if that's the highlight, what was the low light of the trip? Is that a word? It is now.
Certainly some of the hangovers.
Yeah.
Some of the mornings where you're just like questioning your life choices.
Well, what goes up must come down ultimately.
Exactly. Well, I mean, again, highlights wise, you can think of some of the nights out and like the bars you go to, whatever. They're really cool. That's part of Nashville's appeal and Nashville's culture, I guess. But like you say, with that comes a lot of heavy drinking, which then must come down. In the early stage of the holiday, we were speaking about yesterday, you're excitable. And that means you drink more than you maybe should do. Or maybe I used to. I don't drink that much. And that meant that when I woke up, I felt like shit. So I was, I mean, some of those earlier mornings where I start to work and operate and train and run or whatever. Actually, I'll give you a specific example.
Ooh, I like this detail.
So this is probably like 6 days in. We'd smashed it the day before. We went to Broadway, which is the main strip in Nashville, in the day, and we're like, okay, cool. We'll go in the day, be relaxed, we'll fin out, or we'll leave at like 6. We had about 4 seltzers. That wasn't happening. 4 seltzers. I'm going to incriminate myself.
You knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, we had
as soon as you pass the point of no return, there's only one option, isn't there?
Literally. So we had the car there, and that was running out of time. So we were like, 2 options here. Either we drive home and stay at home. One option. Boring option. And the second option was to drive home and get an Uber back. We did that. So our intention going in was to finish at 6. We went back at 6, got changed, and then we were out with the evening people. Very different energy in the evening.
Out with the
and it was about I think it was a Wednesday. Wednesday's pretty busy, and so anyway, went out super late, drank far too much, and then I was awake probably about 4 hours later because of just body clock. So I hadn't had any sleep, and I decided to go to Proven Fitness, which is Tia Toomey's gym. Which is pretty cool. Incredible gym. But I was not in the headspace to enjoy it at all. And I thought, I need to sweat, and I haven't done much high-roxy stuff. So let's put myself through a 70% sim.
That's the worst type of phys you can do on a hangover.
Ridiculous
so
idea.
bad.
And not only that, have you ever run on a Woodway treadmill? It's like a curved, self-propellant treadmill, but the brand's called Woodway. I'd never ran one of them. When I went in, the woman was like, have you run one of these before? I was like, no. So I told her I was going to do a sim. She was like, okay, well, if you're doing X distance, you want to do 80% of that distance, really, because that treadmill's way harder. So it's already warning me off.
Is it like an even worse assault runner?
Yeah,
and like
way
it projects you forward, like
it doesn't project you forwards. It's just harder to power.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you're using more energy to get less return. So running a 4-minute K there is like running a 3:30K.
Right. So
do you know what I mean?
That's fucking shit.
Yeah. And so she's
like, how do you know where you stand?
Well, I guess you're always operating under the illusion that you're training harder than you are.
Right, okay.
That were. But anyway, I was like, well, whatever. I'll run 80% of the distance, but I'll still try and run the same pace. Did that for the first 2. I was fucking hanging. When I say it was the worst I've ever felt in a phys session, honestly, I can't remember last time I did. I ended up running the last few intervals at like, would have been like a 9:30 minute mile. It was so slow. And I was there on the treadmill like...
Clearly burnt yourself out.
What the fuck am I doing? And
burnt yourself out early doors.
Yeah, and then I had 70 wall balls at the end. I was like, this is terrible. Anyway, that was probably a low light for me. I was like, I should not feel this bad, because also I have a High Rocks race in 30 days' time from here. So hopefully that's not indicative of where my fitness is at. And it was just a isolated instance. But yeah.
How do you feel with hangovers now in your old age compared to... Because you didn't really used to touch the sides, did it? Like, no. I remember when we went interrailing, like we just operated on a 2-week hangover, which was mental. Because I think that would hospitalise me now, having not drank for like
you'd be fucked.
18 months or whatever. I'd be absolutely fucked.
You'd be in trouble. Yeah, I mean, way worse. Obviously, I'm still quite good at getting through them.
Is that a symptom of you getting older or drinking less, so it affects you more when you do drink? Both.
I'd imagine both. And I still do. Drinking's still part of my life, but I don't hammer it ever.
You don't binge drink really.
Yeah.
As much.
So if I do, that's when I feel horrendous. But I'm still pretty good at getting over it. Like I'll drink my electrolytes, and I'll have some painkillers, and I'm good to go.
Hangover's a mindset.
It actually is. Obviously, it's a physical symptom as well, but you can choose to
get out of it. But it's the mindset piece is you know the things you have to do to shorten the duration of the hangover. It's whether you can be asked to do them when you feel like death.
Yeah, exactly.
Which most people can't, and that's the difference.
Well, most people go further into the hole, which we get into as a whole different topic. They're like, oh, I feel like shit, I'm going to order a Domino's and drink a Lucozade.
Exactly, and they think that's helping. It's not. It's prolonging it.
It makes you feel 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Because not only is there no nutrients in there, but it's also going to dehydrate you even further. And you've had no physical exercise, no ability to kind of flush it through. Anyway.
So swallow the bitter pill early doors, and then you'll feel better for it later. Instead of taking the easy route straight away, and then prolonging it for the entire day.
I know you don't drink anymore. What is your 5-step process?
5 steps? We've got to make it to 5 steps.
Out of a hangover. So you woke up in the morning, you feel like shit.
Well, we had it down to a fine art eventually, didn't we?
It's calling on your memory.
it's wake up, immediately hydrate, because I think that is the biggest part of the hangover is the dehydration, I think, for most people. So immediately rehydrate, be it with water, if you've got access to them, electrolytes. Number 2, try and fuel with something clean, ideally. And by clean, I mean so you're not kind of like mega processed.
What's an example of
something that your body can actually take some nutrients from.
Yeah, a lot of people would say they're going to be sick though if they do that.
Yeah, well, this is where the mindset thing comes in, because I'm not saying you're going to enjoy it, but it will be beneficial.
It will help you, yeah, fair.
So it's a fine line, isn't it, of finding...
Probably something bland as well.
Yeah, something that's going to kind of like give your body something to operate with, but is also pretty bland and is not going to be too rich to kind of overstimulate you.
Yeah, okay, next.
Number 3 is movement. Really, and that's the key piece. This
fresh air times fresh air.
Attached to that is fresh air, ideally, because if you get the right type of movement, you can do 2 birds, 1 stone.
I agree. Yeah.
So you want to get like really the type of fizz I think that's best on a hangover is like getting a sweat on. So you can kind of sweat the hangover out, but not too much of a sweat that you kind of write yourself off, which is maybe where you fell foul of doing that 70% sim.
Yes, it's horrendous.
So you want to get like a bit of like an easy conditioning session, really, like a bit of a flow state conditioning session.
Yeah, I would say an easy run because you're going to be outside.
Yeah, and then you get the fresh air, so it's like winner.
That's it. Yeah, that was 3, 4, 3.
That was about 3. I mean, you can prolong it if you want. Like you obviously get back, wash. That'll be a good start.
Well, I would add as soon as you get up, you shower because you feel immediately better, and then you hydrate and have some painkillers. In my opinion. That's a game changer.
Yeah, 2 bonus. Okay, then.
That's a bonus round that.
So 5-step solution to hangovers then. Wake up, immediately shower, because physiologically that's probably not doing anything. Psychologically, it just makes you feel fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Painkillers
and hydration.
Painkillers, hydration, fuel.
And then workout.
And then jobs are good.
And you're in. That's probably got an hour, and you're good to go.
And then probably at some point, the final bit is sleep.
Well, yeah, you probably prolong that, to be fair, into the night, because then you will have a good sleep.
Yeah,
if you sleep in the day, you fucking wrap.
Yeah.
Then you'll sleep on that evening, and then you've probably got Monday morning to navigate. Yeah, you're not on a good time.
If you can, there's like a weird nether zone. So after you've cracked that, you've basically got the rest of the day to fill to not fuck up your sleep cycle, and then cash in on a big sleep at night, and then you're back in the following day, having not kind of thrown your circadian rhythm out
too much. But equally, I still think when you get up, the biggest difference to answer your question, biggest difference is the amount of time it still lasts. So even if you do that stuff and you physiologically feel okay, the days coming after that, there's still like a gap in your cognitive sharpness.
Yeah, because you've had it's the sleep factor, isn't it?
With sleep, yeah, I guess so.
Because you've had no deep sleep.
There's probably something else going on as well, but yeah, the deep sleep is definitely part of it. But when you have a really, really heavy night, say it's a Saturday night, it'll be, kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on how heavy you've gone and how you've dealt with that in the day after, until you feel good again. And if this is a cycle you're going through weekly.
Yeah, the chances are you actually no longer know what feeling sharp is.
Yeah, well, we've talked about it before, when a lot of people, if they are a weekly binger, maybe it's Saturday and Sunday, Friday and Saturday, or maybe it's one of them, and you do it every week. As you get older, like I say, that does prolong, and so maybe it's Wednesday before you start to feel good, or then it's Thursday, Friday, you're probably getting back on it.
Yeah.
So you're never really sobering up, it's never really feeling like you're 100% again.
It's just constant boom bust, isn't it?
Yeah. Anyway.
And if that is part of your regular routine, the chances are, because you're so ingrained in that cycle, you've actually forgotten what the alternative feels like.
Well, yeah, we spoke about it loads of times, not just in this example, but in a lot of different ways. People often don't really know what their 10 out of 10 might feel like.
Yeah.
And so to them, 5 out of 10 relatively feels like 10. And so they're like, well, this is just how life feels. I've got no energy, but that's normal. I'm craving sugar all the time, that's normal. My joints are in pain, but I'm old, so that's normal. Like, none of these things are normal. Like, it's just normal for you. And you can take a very simple example or sort of sample, is like, look at someone else who's a lateral step from you, the same age. If you're going to use age as an example or as an excuse, you can quickly find someone who's 40 years of age and doesn't feel a look or like that. Then it's obviously possible. It's just the inputs are different.
That's why I think like not drinking is a superpower, really, in British culture anyway, because it's so normalised. Because most people think the worst thing about drinking is the calories. It's not really. It's the damage it does to your sleep.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So like, if you're in the cycle of binge drinking at a weekend, you basically press reset on your sleep every weekend.
Yeah.
And then you then catch up on that throughout the week. So it's a constant boom bust. If you break that cycle, instead of pressing reset every weekend and then spending the following week rebuilding and catching up, it compounds.
Yeah.
And that extra energy that you'd normally allocate basically to recovering throughout the week, you can allocate to actually doing things that help you grow.
Exactly, yeah.
Whatever that may be.
And the biggest probably unlock when you have a period of sobriety, not that I've done too much of this, but I know you have, is that consistency element of good habits. As you say, like it's very easy on that Sunday after whatever, you might do this routine we just spoke about, but actually you're probably not going to read 10 pages of your book or do your fucking stretching routine, whatever you're trying to be consistent at. If you're setting yourself a goal to do something every day for 30 days, if the 15th day you're hungover, you're probably going to wrap on it.
Yeah.
So like the biggest thing about trying to be locked in, so to speak, or sober or whatever, is the fact that you can just be consistent with all the correct inputs, because there's no difference in your I guess, readiness to take on a habit, because you're not putting yourself at a massive disadvantage by drinking. But I think that's the biggest thing is having consistency. You can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm preaching to the choir here, really.
No, you're 100% right. It's like, and also it's like, it's so easy to do really as well. I know culturally it's not, because the UK is so dependent on alcohol, but like objectively just not basically poison yourself every weekend. It doesn't sound like a mental thing to take out of your life, does it? When you're so reductionist about it, but obviously because it's so culturally enshrined.
What was the hardest thing for you around cutting alcohol?
It's socially, isn't it? It's the social aspect of drinking.
Yeah, but like how so? What do you mean?
As in, like, because in Britain, basically, we socialise through the medium of drinking. Mm-hmm. As soon as you then become a non-drinker, you close off a lot of avenues to socialise with people.
Yeah.
Because you normally go to the pub or on a night out with your mates, typically, at the weekend. So if you no longer want to be in those environments, obviously because you're not a drinker, and if you're sober in a pub or a club or a bar, it can be quite a draining experience. Mm-hmm. You really limit kind of the opportunities that you have to see people ultimately. Yeah. Unless your friends are like-minded and they'll go for like coffees or kind of walks or do like non-drinking activities with you, which again in the UK is harder because so many people do drink. Yeah. So I think socially that piece initially is hard, but it gets easier, right? Because it's like anything, you adapt to the situation. People become more wary of the fact that you don't drink anymore.
Less of a social pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how did you get around that initial inertia?
You have to be proactive about actually like asking the people that you want to see to meet you and do stuff in non-drinking environments ultimately. Because they're not going to, because unless you prompt them to and kind of drag them out of their normal routine, they're going to just stay doing what they normally do, because that's the whole point of being.
You won't end up seeing
them
exactly. You're not in that environment. Yeah.
Because that's why it's hard initially, because you have to do a lot of legwork to kind of create that new kind of ecosystem that you want to operate in. Mm-hmm. Well, as soon as you've kind of built the structure of that, it gets easier.
Yeah. I would agree. I mean, also I think it's a very different conversation in your 20s than it might be in your 40s or in your 50s to try and quit drinking, because it becomes probably more baked into the fabric of your week. Like in your 20s, it's probably just a fucking weekend binge session normally. In your 40s, 50s, you're probably drinking through the week. You're probably having wine and dinner and whatever. It becomes a massive part of your sort of existence, and your unplug probably. There's also a big correlation or association with switching off, and so people often would maybe struggle to switch off. They didn't have that one wine with dinner. And so it's almost replacing that with something which is kind of another conversation itself. But obviously, I think the challenges shift and change as you go through, and your social dynamic changes a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I found hardest anyway. But as I say, it's so normalised now. kind of like regression to the mean, isn't it? Like it's fine now.
Well, yeah.
When I speak to people about it, like fucking mind blown. But obviously, because like for 18 months I haven't drank now, like I don't think about it.
Probably don't. Yeah,
It's
not
so
like
normalised.
every day you're like fucking hell.
Yeah,
Can't wait
I'd
till
be
I drink.
worried if I was 18 months in and I'm still got fucking
Still
like
chomping at the
got the
bit.
shakes.
Yeah, waiting outside a liquor store. Like that.
Yeah, like can't walk past an off license because it's too much of an urge.
Yeah,
Like, that would be worrying. That's not the case.
I'm glad.
So, what would you learn about yourself in Nashville, if anything?
Good question. About myself.
Yeah, we'll do a two-part. So, what did you learn about yourself on the trip, or potentially when you're in Nice as well? We can join the two together. And then, what did you learn about other people that's then changed your attitude potentially to how you behave? What do you observe? Quite existential. I'll put you on the spot here. So,
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what I learnt about myself is
you're hoofing.
where I maybe best operate socially, if that makes any sense.
Elaborate.
Well, so you get to know where your strengths and weaknesses are in a social dynamic, and so obviously I spent a lot of time in loud, nightclubby kind of environments, or like bar style environments, whatever, and I don't behave very optimally in that environment. Not that I'm like being mental, but I mean like I'm not my best, putting my best foot forward in that social environment. I notice other people are more able to do that because they're louder people, they're whatever. They're just their personality lends itself more so to being in that environment. My personality doesn't as much, but in other sort of dynamics, it's a little bit more well suited. So that's a big thing just because of the amount of time that I spent in those environments.
Okay, so in like louder kind of like pub bar environments, what personality type do you think excels?
Well, the extreme extrovert.
Yeah, like loud, kind of exuberant.
Maybe not even true extrovert, but like faked extrovert, if that makes sense. Like someone who's trying to be the center of attention all the time. Really excels because everyone's there to be entertained, right? And so if they can be entertaining, then great.
Yeah, and that is a performance, right? Because
they're not like that on their own.
Yeah, because it's like that's what I mean. It's such a weird environment, isn't it? Like it's loud. There's a lot of distractions. So to actually then kind of be able to garner everyone's attention in that environment when there's so many distractions, you have to put on such a heightened version of yourself. Yeah. No one can operate like that normally.
No. Well, to your point, almost about sort of drinking and sobriety, is that environment. I'm referring to a very specific environment, really, where I'm thinking about like a club. Is a very anxiety-inducing, unenjoyable environment, just objectively. Whereas if you're intoxicated, it's very different. If you're sober in a club, it's actually horrendous. The music's pretty terrible. You know, it's packed. You can't really move. It's too hot. Like really, everything's pretty terrible.
All the metrics are bad, objectively, aren't they?
And the only reason you're enjoying it is because, well, I don't know, it's because you're drunk most of the time.
It's quite damning, isn't it, really? Because basically the whole reason that you can tolerate that is because you are sedated.
Yeah.
But equally, like, if you're just sedated, pretty much any environment's tolerable.
True.
Really, isn't it?
I mean, you're paying shitloads of money to be there, and all of these things are negatives. But people are opting to spend their time doing it. It's very interesting. And so I don't know, I mean, I think, again, that's an age thing. I'm 27 now. I don't think, when I was 18, I'd have said the same thing. But it's also having probably gotten sick of that environment over a period of time.
So which environment is your optimal operating environment then, do you think?
Well, I mean, you spoke about bars and stuff like that. Like a quieter kind of cool bar is fine. Like that makes no odds. I think of like where I would choose to have a date, for example. like that's a good place to have a date, somewhere like outdoors, kind of active obviously. But you know, if you're in like a mega loud, mega overstimulating place, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, so like, let's say not necessarily a date, but let's say you're with someone that you don't know that well, and the idea of the social interaction or engagement is that kind of you get to know each other better, be it because it's like maybe like a business proposal or like you're on a date or something. So you want like a social setting, so maybe still like a bar or something, with like a bit of background noise and ambience, but not to the extent where it's like drains
overdone.
like drains from the conversation.
Yeah, you need the ability to have conversation, really, and that's obvious. But when we were at that event, and it's kind of a slightly skewed example because everyone's there to quote unquote network, so everyone's quite receptive. But that was great. That was perfect. Like you're there with like there was like 20 people in a room. You're chatting one-on-one with people, and you're chatting about something specific, like what they do for work, whatever. And that was fine. Like I feel like I can excel in that environment, but in those sort of louder places. And also, I think as a separate point, I heard something. I can't remember who it was now. But someone was talking about like how hard it is to kind of meditate, be present, all that kind of stuff in today's world, and how these micro meditations can come in, where throughout the day, even for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you can just try and be present and try and just focus on enjoying what you're enjoying, whatever it is. And it's a combination of a couple of things I've heard. One of them is actually Andrew Tate, not afraid to admit. But he was like, you should just enjoy everything. Like even when you open the window in a car or whatever, and the wind's coming, you should like enjoy that experience, feeling that experience.
Or if you're on like a sex trafficking empire, just enjoy that.
Enjoy that. Yeah, enjoy that experience. But no, I mean like it's a good point in terms of like trying to actively enjoy the tiny little ridiculous experiences, because at some point you won't be able to enjoy that, and you'll be longing for it.
Potentially, because you've been detained by Romanian authorities.
Exactly, yeah. Potentially because you're, detained as a sex trafficker. But that's not the point. But I mean, to combine those two, like when you're in some sort of situation that isn't mega stimulating, you can often start to think and ruminate about shit that's happened in the past, stressful stuff, whatever. A lot of times, if you can take like 10 seconds to pull your head out your arse and try and be as present as possible, they're the moments that as you look back on the day, look back on the week, whatever, are actually the moments you remember and the moments that were the most satisfying for you. So that was also something I've kind of tried to leverage a bit more. And obviously it's easier because you're on holiday and whatever, but I was still working and things were still going on. So
there's a lot going. You're juggling a lot of plate. So to kind of also simultaneously try and reprogram your brain to think like that, you've chosen quite a hard place to do it in. But I guess like if you can do it there, then you can do it anywhere, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not so much like you have to be in I guess the whole point is you don't have to be in a mega stimulating, incredible environment. You just have to have the ability to appreciate the tiny win that you're experiencing right now.
That's the key to life, isn't it? Really, when you distill it, it's learning to appreciate the simple stuff. Mm-hmm. Because then, if you can do that, you're only going to win. If your life or your kind of like validation or self-worth is dependent on a lot of kind of elaborate, expensive, like material things, you're setting yourself up to fail, really, aren't you? Because they're not always guaranteed.
Well, and also your ability to enjoy those things is diminishing.
Yeah. And if that's the bar that you've set, then anything below that is deemed as like a loss or a failure. Yeah. Whereas if you can just learn to appreciate the fact that you basically exist, which in itself is kind of like a miracle. If you can crunch the numbers on it. If you can
bring it all the way down to that, you're in a great place, yeah. And I think the more you can do that consistently on a day-to-day, even yesterday, travelling fucking across the world, it was obviously a bit shit sometimes, having to travel across London, whatever. And just trying to reframe those things to why you're fortunate to be able to do that, or whatever it may be, is very useful, because sometimes if you don't do that, you're just going to be annoyed at the situation, which is very easy to do and I think very common. But anyway, that was probably something I'd noticed or tried to change about how I was operating it. And then you said, what I learned with other people.
Or a piece of, if you can't think of like a certain behaviour that you observe from other people, what about like a tangible like skill or idea, like the one that you just mentioned, that you could kind of picked up while you were there that you're then going to try and implement now that you're back?
I think always notice this, and this is a specific honourable mention to my good friend Chase, but he's the guy I met in Austin this year, but he actually, funny enough, was out in Nashville, so we met together again, but just incredible in that like social dynamic situation, and not the one I was talking about. He's good in that situation as well in terms of like the allowed club environment, but I mean just like a one-on-one with the barista, with whatever it is. Just seems to be able to put people at ease so quick, and make a small joke, it's well received, or those kind of little soft skills, soft social skills that are just, and he'll like. So we're English, and so it's difficult inherently for us to speak to strangers and feel kind of normal about doing that. At ease,
yeah, because it's not. Americans have an advantage there. They are a lot better at having conversations with strangers. That's kind of what makes them American. Yeah. And it's also what puts us on edge about Americans as Brits.
Very, very true. Yeah. But I think that ability to not have that level of, what if this person doesn't receive me correctly, or what if, that kind of anxiety that you would tend to have about starting that conversation with the stranger or whatever, or having the extended interaction with the barista or the shopkeeper, whatever it is. Because we would think, I'm sure you're the same, I'm sure most people watching this are the same, would kind of worry about, how is this going to be received? Maybe they're going to take offence or whatever. And he just doesn't have that level. And from observing it for days I now have spent with him, 90% of the time, it's very well received. And so, obviously, it's the way he does it, and he's very good at it, but I think that's a really, really good skill to cultivate. It's just something I noticed, to answer your question. But, yeah, it's always something I find, I may have spoken this on a podcast before, I think I spoke about it somewhere, but I venerate about others is their ability to be gregarious. Have I spoken about that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
it's like it's a lack of mixturous things, isn't it? But it's like having, being charismatic, lack of approach anxiety.
Yeah. All those kind of things, because I think they are valuable.
It's also kind of a dying art, isn't it?
Yeah.
As people become more insular,
more digital.
And live more kind of vicariously through their online persona and not through their actual kind of real life identity. Those soft skills that he clearly has in abundance are becoming increasingly rare. So people like him stand out even more.
No, yeah, absolutely. Also interesting is a post I did this month at some point, the one about men being, and shared some statistics around that. That was obviously as it was always going to be. It was well received by some and very, very much not well received by others. It's very interesting, how offended some people are with those kind of. Well, it's just statistics, right? I didn't say anything that wasn't true.
Yeah, but I mean, if the shoe fits, I guess.
Well, right.
Probably touching a lot of insecurities for some people.
Well, the whole point of the post.
Kind of home truths, isn't it?
Exactly, the whole point. But if you're looking at that and it annoys you, then there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that would be how I'd answer that question. It's a good question, but I think when you put yourself in sort of unfamiliar environments, there's always going to be some learning that you receive from that, whether it be about yourself or about the world. We were speaking about Americans' cringe factor as well, which is funny.
America. I mean, let's do some segments, right? And this can be intertwined in an ad hoc pet peeve. Basically, the whole thing with Americans is there's no cringe. So British culture is very much built on, we have a very low threshold to cringe.
Yes.
So anything above that, if you kind of play with the social dynamics in the right way, can be funny. Mm-hmm. Because Americans don't really get irony and sarcasm, there is no cringe. Mm-hmm. So anything goes, really. And basically, the more you're able to be cringe, the further you go in society. Whereas in the UK, it's kind of the opposite. It's your ability to successfully navigate not being cringe determines your success.
It's true. I mean, I was thinking about this. I couldn't really come up with anything good. Is there an inherent value to cringe if we take it objectively?
Well, we need to know what is cringe. We need to define it before we can.
Well, that's very difficult to define. It's like that. I don't know. What would you say? I could take a punt.
Yeah, it's got to be something. Well, you Google it.
I might ask ChatGPT now.
Yeah, what is cringe? I would probably say something that's like deemed like socially
uncomfortable secondhand experience you feel when someone does or says something awkward, try hard or socially off key.
Yeah, it's a social faux pas, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
But so
it's like he says here, the involuntary wince or like
and we're like we have a very low threshold to that in Britain, which
Yeah.
kind of feeds into what you were saying earlier about like approach anxiety and stuff.
Correct.
Like we're so conscious of basically not being cringe or
basically like making the other person feel uncomfortable somewhat.
But there's something unique about Americans and their kind of outlook and I guess their sense of self entitlement ultimately a bit, which kind of ingrained into the culture. Whereas like they don't have that. Like I guess ultimately it comes down to self-awareness as well. You could argue that quite a lot of Americans aren't that self-aware.
True. However, upon observing this
because we won't throw him under the bus in case he listens. I don't know how well you know him, but the guy that you were telling me about yesterday, with the flower.
Oh yeah.
That stinks.
But what's interesting is that because they don't experience cringe, it means they're not held back from just like doing what they want to do or enjoying themselves. We might not, dance in a nightclub because it's a bit cringe, but that might just be an enjoyable thing to do. You know what I mean?
It's a weird one to navigate, isn't it? Like you said, because it's like, really, you were fully right. To get to where you want to go, you have to learn to not really give a shit about what people think. But again, as America does with a lot of things, I think they've taken it too far.
Yeah.
Because they literally know no bounds.
Literally no bounds. Yeah, it's true.
It's almost like it's ravenous.
Ravenous anti-cringe.
Yeah, their approach to cringe is ravenous.
It's just a very.
Whereas I think with us, we've gone too far the opposite way. You probably need a middle ground. Yeah,
that's true. Anglicise the Americans and Americanise the Brits.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it's very strange as a thing. We were speaking about it in terms of social media stuff. So Tom I was with shared something, shared a reel, right? And he got like no engagement, right? He's not an influencer by any stretch, but he's like. Just I don't know, made this reel, created it, and it didn't do very well, so he deleted it. He got embarrassed, and we were kind of talking about it as like that's just you cringing at the fact that maybe you've created something, put yourself out there, and no one's received it well, and so you've gone, oh no, I'm going to pull back. Whereas in that specific environment, social media as an example, you win just being yourself first of all, being consistent, and if the more the less you can attach value to how something does or how cringy it is, how embarrassing it is, and the more you can just do it, show up and do stuff, the better you'll do. And so that in that environment, in that specific example, cringe probably isn't a good thing. But there's probably certain environments where you are, and I've probably experienced it, right? I'm maybe just numb to it a little bit, where the ultimate gregarious American or whatever is actually putting someone at, not putting them at ease, and approaching someone who doesn't want to be approached, or is speaking to someone at length who doesn't want to be spoken to.
Well, on a national level, they've kind of made an identity for that.
Correct.
With illegal incursions into, insert foreign nation here.
True.
We'll help you. Actually, we don't want to be helped. Too late.
We're already there. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, there probably is, you're right, an example, and obviously context is key with everything. But in like most professional, I think, endeavours, I would imagine it's probably a good thing to have the ability to just ignore how you feel about that and do whatever you need to do.
Yeah, because ultimately there's kind of like no self-regulator, so like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
With basically like what you put in is what you put out.
Yeah. But with social dynamics, it's a nuanced conversation.
Yeah,
and that's just social intelligence, isn't it?
There's also another good example that we won't go into of an individual that you're quite close with, again, who clearly doesn't understand the boundaries around that.
Who are your friends?
Yeah, and you just
probably a few.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's very
like
interesting.
Learning when someone's not interested. For example,
it's social intelligence that we're talking about, really.
Yeah.
And that's a skill in itself. Because that doesn't mean necessarily that you're never going to talk to a stranger. It just means that when you do, you're going to get the vibe.
I guess.
And get the,
Yeah, I guess when you can only operate under the no cringe model if everyone else is also no cringe, because then it is just basically a race. I think if you were like American in the UK,
you'd have to moderate.
You would struggle because you'd just get ostracised. You'd be like, this guy's too much or this girl's too much. Yeah. Like you'd actually push people away.
Well, like I say, you have to moderate it because if you did moderate it well, you'd probably go far.
Yeah, whereas in America, if no one's got any cringe, it's just like an arms race.
Yeah,
it's like, well, who can be the most cringe then?
It's true.
Who can stand out the most? That's literally kind of what it is, isn't it?
It's kind of American culture, yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting. Because the reason we noticed that, I think, is that in Nashville, you're always in those environments where it would kind of be a little bit cringe if you weren't in Nashville.
Well, yeah, well, I mean,
everyone's dressed as a cowboy.
Yeah, literally, let's unpack it. If you wore like cowboy boots and a fucking Stetson in a bar in the UK, you'd stick out like a sore thumb, wouldn't you? Like,
yeah. Well, I guess part of that's like cultural norms, isn't it? But,
yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting, massive, massive difference between the two cultures that I noticed. Me and Tom were talking about it, but yeah, it's an interesting conversation.
Right, let's do some quick fire pet peeves.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Mixer taps with no temperature markings. So like,
very specific.
So if you're designing a mixer tap, i.e., the ones that are like kind of hot and cold converged, and you just like basically move the tap, an integral piece to that design is marcating which fucking side is cold and which is hot. Mm-hmm. How on earth can you be in that industry and design a tap that then goes into production that doesn't have those markings on it?
That's mental, yeah, you are right.
Shit, innit? There you go.
Yeah, that's crazy. There's a lot of examples of that where companies have done something, that have done the hard work really, really well, and the little nuance, tiny little detail that just makes that 80% effective to 100% effective is just missed out.
And it's obviously like, because it probably doesn't look stylish to put like a little circle with like half blue, half red on it, so they've just fucked it off.
But like if make it aesthetic, you could do if it was like a black tap, you do like a cold in
Yeah, like emboss it.
Yeah,
but obviously, if that's your tap at home, you'll learn which is hot and which is cold. Yeah. If that's a public toilet, that's gash.
Yeah, it's not used to anyone.
Right, so that's that one. Podcasters, I guess level of self-awareness here. Yeah. Podcasters, brackets especially men, who take themselves and their podcast way too seriously.
Give me examples.
And I'd like to think we don't fall foul of this.
Give me an example.
Well, there's loads. But like people that use their platform as a podcast to kind of ultimately preach their worldview and kind of speak it as gospel. And again, like we were saying earlier, lack that self-awareness to appreciate that kind of like you are just gobbing off into a camera in an acoustic room,
and you are probably unqualified to speak about what you're
saying. Yeah, and there's probably a lot of hidden ironies and hypocrisy in what you're saying.
We usually caveat everything we say for that exact reason. And,
but I guess this falls into kind of like the manosphere type.
I was just about to say,
those like even podcasts, like really established, like big podcasts, like Chris Williamson and Rogan, depending on who the guest is, can fall into that sometimes. It gets a bit kind of like virtue signally.
True. But there's some value to that.
I know I'm not demonising it, but it's like it's when you go too far and that just becomes your whole brand.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You need a balance.
If you can dip in and out of it, because it's a valid topic, and and there's probably valid, lessons and teachings around that potentially. But it is like when it's your whole entire thing, and there's more and more of these examples popping up. I we spoke about this before. More and more like dating coaches popping up.
Yeah, this is a big problem.
Obviously, we have coaching business, fitness coaching. There's the same kind of model being now pursued by a lot of people as a dating coach. Now, here's my issue. Most of these people are single men.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well,
big man.
Obviously, with our brand and with HS Fitness and kind of what we do as coaches and what we try and represent is always practice what you preach. How can you advise someone on finding and maintaining a lasting relationship
if you
have no first-hand experience of that yourself?
Exactly.
Surely you do
madness.
exactly the opposite of what that individual advises.
Yeah, well, 100%. It's very, because it's normally like how behave on dates, this and that. And like, you know, when to pull back, when to whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, all that sounds great on fucking reels or whatever. But how do you know it works in fucking reality? Because you're not in that environment to have shown it's successful. Just like a fitness coach who's out of shape. Like, why aren't you practicing these principles yourself and finding your own lasting, fulfilling relationship?
The immediate question I have for people like that is, if you know so well and you're such an expert in it, why haven't you implemented that in your own life?
Well,
if it's so straightforward and you have the answers, why haven't you done it?
Yeah.
That's my immediate
The answer is because it's not that straightforward.
That's my immediate objection to their pitch.
Their pitch. Well, it's interesting because it's all so nuanced. We talk about it in terms of social media content and how there's a lot of dogma and instruction on how this goes viral, how this does well, how this does well. Ultimately, it's a fucking lottery. And relationships and dating is a lot of the same shit. Like there's guiding principles, sure, and there's maybe some things you should do more of, less of. You know, don't fucking just talk about yourself on a first date, for example. Great advice. But there's not like a playbook where you say, do this, this, and you're going to end up with the perfect relationship that's never, you know.
Yeah, because obviously with coaching, obviously there's the soft skills needed to actually kind of empathise and understand kind of the client or the athlete to get them to where they want to be. But alongside that, there's like evidence-based practice. There are certain principles in relation to like strength and conditioning that you know are pretty universal. You just have to kind of adapt them to that individual. So there's inputs and outputs. Yeah. Like you said with dating, it's ethereal.
It's not exact science.
There aren't rules.
No.
What kind of works for some individual or what some person might find attractive, another person might detest due to complex human nature
and their background.
Their background, their culture, their trauma, like their upbringing, like so to just gob off on a reel and be like, yeah, I understand women, or like, yeah, I understand blokes. Here's what you need to do: pay me, and you'll have a lasting. Even though you're basically an incel who lives on their own and gobs off to a camera all day.
That is the issue that I see with it a lot of the time, is just the fact that those people preaching it don't tend to have those, and it's kind of a spiral a little bit, because I always think of, okay, that individual goes on a date or meets a girl and they ask him what he does. No woman is going to be attracted to that. Oh yeah, I help men get girls. Like, what?
It's also weird, isn't it? Because it's like, it's not even like I'm a relationship counsellor or therapist, which you probably come from like a psychology background. And you probably actually have a deeper understanding, theoretically, of like...
I guess that's different anyway, because you're dealing with current relationships and trying to get them out of...
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is like, that's more legit.
Of course.
And it's like, it's actually grounded in something. You kind of setting up your stall as like a dating coach or whatever, is kind of just built off nothing. Ultimately, well, like if you don't even have the concrete proof of having been or being in a kind of long-term relationship yourself, like what actually have you got to go on?
It's very interesting actually, because if you were someone who's just in a long-term relationship, it's kind of an interesting like dichotomy. Like if you were someone who's just been in like an 8-10 year relationship and it's super successful, you wouldn't have had the reps or the experience in the dating process to be to have like cultivated any experience in that, and so you wouldn't be able to be a coach anyway in it. Yeah. And then again, but
ironically, that makes you more qualified, because it's like, well, what did you do? It was like, I just found someone that I got on with, and like, you know, we kind of make a conscious effort to keep each other happy. And then this guy's gobbing off about like, you need to do this, you need to take them there, you can't say that, and it's well, actually, you're doing that, and it's not worked for you.
Well, that's
so I might take a leaf out of that guy's playbook.
This is what I mean. Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting like irony, like built-in irony, but it's just something I've noticed more and more coming up.
But it's becoming more prevalent. You're right,
because the word coach is obviously in my algorithm.
So you get all the coaches, the spectrum of coaches,
whether it's business, fitness, whatever. And there's more and more of everything coming in, which is funny. But The interesting thing is, it is an issue that needs solving almost. I think more and more people aren't in good quality relationships, and it probably is something that needs addressing. And obviously, the people have seen that as a gap in the market, and so okay, cool. I'm a bit of a ladies' man. Let's have it. I mean, so.
Right, we'll finish on one more to round it up to an hour. Right, this is one for the coaches, right? So I want to hear your opinion on this. Athletes or clients who sign up for your coaching services with the intention, basically, of stealing your IP and service to then market themselves as a coach with your ideas. Because we've fallen, we're a victim of this. And we won't name names, but they know who they are.
I have a mixed opinion on this, I think. I'm not completely against it.
But there's a way to go about it, right? So we've got two examples, I'll pitch them to you, and they both relate to HS Fitness. So we've got one individual who is now a prominent coach in our niche, who initially, when they wanted to set out into their coaching journey, just quite upfront asked you about it. Do you know the individual I'm on about? They like, why would you do this? Like, what would you recommend? Ask your advice. That's fine. I've got no issue with that because I'm not for gatekeeping. Yeah. Like, people need coaching, so we need more coaches. And people that are enthusiastic about coaching and proactive about it, even better. Yeah. The wrong way to go about it, in my eyes, is put on a facade or kind of like sign up for your coaching under the pretense that you actually need help and want to be coached. But actually, you kind of just Trojan horsed your agenda of, right, I want to become a coach. So I'll sneak into this individual's business and kind of rip out all of their IP. Yeah. And then, leave it under the false pretense that, like, I've got what I want out of it or it's not for me. Leave it for a month. Sign up for someone else's coaching. Do the same. Do that a couple of times, rinse and repeat. And then lo and behold, 6 months down the line, you've miraculously got your own coaching business now. And a lot of it rings true with what you were doing or what another individual does. Yeah. It's very, very true. I mean, that isn't the way to go about it. There is a way to go about it where you're upfront about it. And we have a few coaches who are clients where they're like, well, I'm here partially to improve my fitness, of course, but also because my coaching is my income. And if I can improve that by stealing some of your systems, then cool, fucking I'll do it. And that's fine. Because they're going to go and do it. They're going to do it in their own way. And it's going to be like their impression or imprint on what we do, which is fine. That's no problem. Because a lot of the people who come in are like, well, I am a coach, do my own thing, but I want to come in, experience what you've got on offer so I can take it and use it. And that's fine because they're upfront about it. That's fine. There's no problem with that at all. I encourage that, actually, because if you see someone doing something you think it works, then get an intimate understanding and then go and take it on your own. There's a difference between that, first of all, that and just copy and pasting something. That's very different. The other thing is coming in under a false pretense and then leaving and having it almost under a guise. That's very different as well. I think that's the bad bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's having the integrity and the honesty to be like upfront about it. Like, I'm a coach or I'm like an aspiring coach. Like, I look up to you or like I like what you do. But I'm obviously here also to train or to kind of improve my own health and fitness. But I would also like to kind of get an idea for how you. I mean, we do the exact same in March on, right? Because we look up to them as like the industry standard. Just like we've been on their programs, like we engage with all of the stuff they put out, and it's like, how can we replicate this or kind of create it in our own way that's relevant to our guys? And again, it's like
it's just standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah, and it's like having again the respect and the integrity to not just copy stuff verbatim or steal their like intellectual property, but again, be influenced by it and make it your own.
Make it your own.
There's a fine line, isn't it?
Of course. There's the same thing with content. Like, there's a great example of some guy who copied James Smith's video word for word, frame for frame, example for example. Like, he would have got the transcript, put it into a Google Doc and just read it. It's insane. It's mental. When you watch the two back to back, like the pacing's the same, the shots, it's ridiculous. And you can't do that. Yeah. Because you can't go, okay, this video did well for him, I'm going to just post it. Because that's one thing. Whereas if you artistically, take someone's idea and make it your own, that's fine. There's no problem.
Yeah.
You can take someone's like style or whatever the delivery of that content is and just recreate it in your own way. I do that all the time. I look at shit that's working. I'm like, okay, cool. How can I just make that into my own shit? I do a lot of React posts now. Do you think I came up with the ability to do React posts? Obviously not. I saw someone else do it, and I just react in my own way. It's the same thing. And it's trying to think about it in a way where nothing's now original.
I was literally just about to say, obviously, if you take a postmodern perspective online, there are no such thing as original ideas. So everything's just a copy or a parody or a satire of something that's come before it.
It is. And you're not ever going to, unless, some people will, but generally, you're not going to come up with something completely new. You're not, unless you're doing your own, research, you're in a lab, you're doing this and that. So everything's pretty much already there. You've now just got to find a way to creatively put it out there. And that's all content is, especially fitness stuff. Like the principles, the guiding principles, the basics are always the same.
But with the coaching stuff, where you're going to set yourself up to fail if you do basically just copy and paste everything that other people are doing, is you're not actually developing the understanding and the why. So you've kind of got the what, which is great, but as a coach, you need to also understand the why.
And how. Because
a lot of coaching is reverse engineering. So someone will present like an end goal or a problem, and you'll need to know how to reverse engineer that to where they are now. If you don't understand the why, you're not going to be able to do that because you won't be able to then prescribe the what.
Yeah, and from a branding and marketing perspective, if you do just copy someone else, you're just only ever going to become the second best one of those people. Yeah. You're never going to be the best version because you're going to be the second best version of their original identity.
That's also, it's a very good point. Like, you can only be yourself.
Yeah, you can't copy and paste your way to being better than the original person who's doing the thing.
Yeah, because even if you do the best job possible of copying that thing, you're still just, the next best imitation of the original.
Yeah, because they're going to do the original thing first. Because obviously they've
already done it.
Yeah,
they've already done it.
Exactly. So they're going to beat you to it. So me copying Ollie March on verbatim and doing everything he does, it might work for a bit, but I'm never going to be better than him doing that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a weird.
You're never going to look better than him either.
No, I know that.
Which is ultimately depressing.
I'm not on PED, so. It's a mad space we're in. It's so easy to copy. It's so easy to steal that IP, and there's no real. It's almost like a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, and obviously people, it's the tragedy of the commons, isn't it? People will exploit that, and then obviously that lowers the bar, so it becomes the norm.
Well, I use it the same. The reason I'm saying, it's not a bad thing in some respects is because I have, business coaching, and a lot of the systems and the way we coach our clients now is inspired by how they run their thing. Because I'm like, that works. That's really cool. Let's create it in our business. There's nothing wrong with that.
Again, it's the difference though, isn't it? It's like taking a system or a procedure and imprinting it on the way that we operate or how it works for us.
And also a key detail is I'm still paying them.
That's always like you have paid for that service.
Yeah, a lot as well. So, So that's
sounding bitter.
Yeah, in a way, it kind of is. But anyway, it's a lot.
That's it.
It's
been dark thought to end on, isn't it? That
I don't deep it too much because
I
will probably cry.
Well, we're finishing now, so you can deep it.
Yeah, well, hopefully I can cry. Can I do that as well?
Yeah, we'll cut now.
Right, thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed that and got something from it.
Yeah, we're going to run the risk of promising you another episode, and maybe next week we'll rerun the social media app. Because there was a lot of value in that. Yeah, and enough time now has passed for me to have forgotten most of what we spoke about.
I've forgotten everything. So.
Good. Well, that's good. We'll do a rerun of that then.
Happy days. We'll tune into that one in 2 weeks' time.